Hello out there in YouTube land, Rival here. Thanks for stopping by. We are here once again to do an overview of the latest and greatest ZT0392. As far as I'm aware, this is the last in the series, although, you know, at ZT they could come out with one or two more just completely out of the blue with no announcements, and nobody would ever be the wiser. But this was teased last year, I believe, at like Blade Show, or maybe it was SHOT Show, one of those two. So it's been anticipated for a while because it represents a pretty big change in the 0392 style, so we'll get into that. You know, this is going to be the fifth one of these that I've reviewed, so I'm not going to do, you know, your standard, you know, blade length and all that jazz. I've done that in the first 2 or 3. I will have all the specs down below, though. So if you're interested in weight, blade length, handle type, all that jazz, that's going to be down below. This is going to be mostly an impressions video. And we'll do a comparison to one of the others as well. So ZT limited edition packaging has become a very premium thing these days. Nice to see you've got this camo foil with a cross-hatched box, magnetized. You've got your certificate of authenticity, the 0392WC. And inside the packaging is the knife itself. Get this out of the way here, you guys. Sorry. There we go. Now, there are some pretty sweet things going on with this knife. So first of all, you can see it's gray in color. You can see a little bit of black peeking out on the blade itself. You've got blackened hardware. So you've still got titanium hardware. It's just blackened with a premium DLC coating. This is pretty unique. You've got the filler tab here, which is copper. When you pop it off on the back, you're going to see a stamp that says Steel Flame. For those Hinderer guys out there, Steel Flame is a very popular accessorizer for Hinderer. I mean, they make pocket clips with all kinds of, you know, horse heads and flamey skulls and regular skulls and crusader shields, and they make filler tabs with stuff on them, and they make them out of copper, and they make them out of sterling silver, and they make them out of a little bit of everything, and you can get ones starting at 30 or 40 bucks. You can get them going all the way up to $600 pocket clips. So Steel Flame is a very, very, very popular customizer of all things Hinderer. So it's pretty awesome to see that factory custom collaboration, not only with Hinderer themselves, but with Steel Flame in particular, throwing in some filler tabs. That's pretty rock and roll action. All right, so what really separates this one from the rest is that the Wharncliffe blade is pretty epic. You know, Hinderer only started making Wharncliffes himself maybe 2 years ago. I think he rolled out with the first one on XM18s. Maybe it was 3 years ago. I'm not the best judge of time. And this does mimic that for the most part. You've got this really big sweeping swedge. And you've got that nice long pointed flat Wharncliffe blade shape. You're still retaining that 3.5-inch blade. It's just Warney style. Whoop, hello, sorry. Didn't mean to get that out of frame. You've got the DLC coated flats with the satin grinds, again mixed with that black hardware, and then this gray handle. Let's talk about that for a second. So it's still, you know, titanium frame lock, stainless steel over travel and lock bar insert on the inside, but it's coated. Now, ZT, I want to say that maybe 2 years ago, started showing off some in-house anodizing that they're doing on some upcoming blades, like, oh shoot, was it like the 606, I believe it was, which is going to be an R.J. Martin special edition. So with their anodizers, they are, you know, typically you see colored anodization, which is a very thin oxide coating on the titanium itself, and there's a spectrum of color, but I mean, you've seen me do all kinds of different colors and layers and pimp jobs with standard anodizing. This is Type 2 titanium anodizing, which is a slightly different process than what most people do. And it actually, the oxide coating that it places on there It's actually a hard anodizing, so it is a hardened oxide coating when you anodize it with the Type 2 style. So I don't even know the process itself in as far as the main differences between standard anodizing and Type 2 hard anodizing, but it's something that's been done in aluminum for a really, really long time as well. You've got your standard soft anodizing and your hard anodizing. So it just provides an additional protective coating on the surface itself. It is a little bit glossy, but it's a matte finish. It's not reflecting light or anything crazy like that. So it's pretty kick-ass. It's kind of a gunmetal color in real life. A little fingerprinty, but it wipes pretty well. It still feels amazing. You know, I mean, the knife overall, talked about this in several of the previous videos, the ergos, you know, whatever you think about how it looks, it definitely has a look to it. But depending on how you feel on the overall aesthetics, the ergonomics are insane on this knife. It is one of the most comfortable knives ever made. And, you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again, the ZT version personally I think is superior to the Hinderer version because of the ball bearings and the detent setup. You know, Hinderer has a different philosophy when it comes to detent setup and flipper style than Zero Tolerance does. So these things are going to thunder out like a rocket. Hinderers, you know, they're also for heavy use, hard use, military use, EMT use, things like that. But those guys are going to have a little bit more controlled situation. These are for just straight up immediate badassery. What else can we say about this knife? Again, on the back side, you've still got the titanium coated pocket clip and filler tab, as well as the pivot. Just kind of giving you a good overall look at that knife. I mean, she's sexy as hell. Oh, I'll give you a comparison to one of the others so you can see the major difference. Hold tight 1 second. So this is the previous latest release. So right off the bat, you know, one of the differences you can see in the coating, you've got this hard matte coating. You can actually see the stone wash through this coating. It's kind of lightly, I don't believe it was black washed. I believe it was stone washed and then coated. But you've got the green hardware as opposed to the blackened hardware. And then you've got the standard drop point, harpoon drop point, or clip point rather. And then the Wharncliffe. Trying to give you a little bit of a observational difference of the handles. Again, being that you've got this one which is a traditional coating, this one which is a hard anodizing. So they definitely have a different sheen and feel to them. As far as slipping speed, I mean, that's a beast. This one seems, to me, this one seems like it's on turbo mode almost. It definitely flips harder and faster than that one, but they both have a fantastic deployment. Yeah, everything else, I mean, is nearly identical. You've got your titanium filler tabs versus your copper filler tabs. Again, you know, as far as I'm aware, this is the last of the announced versions of the 0392, so kind of an end of an era, so to speak. ZT's still got several limited edition knives on the horizon that haven't come out yet that were released last year, or at least announced last year. We've got a RJ Martin, and like I said earlier, I think it's the 606. It's the pivotless pivot, so it's got a straight hole through the pivot, and then you've got things surrounding that, so it's a completely different pivot style and setup. You've got the 999, which is a pretty futuristic flipper. It's got a compound blade, or not a compound blade, but a composite blade. I think those are the only two that ZT fans are waiting for as far as special editions. I will probably try to get my hands on both of those, you guys, but they're going to be really expensive. I'm not going to lie to you. And yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to get them in on trade or something like that. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get my hands on one, show them to you, but we don't even know when they're coming out yet, so that's neither here nor there. That's all we got this time around on the ZT 0392 Wharncliffe. If you got any questions, pop them down below. I'll do my best to answer them, give you some feedback. Like and subscribe. Thanks for stopping by. Peace.